making fish fillet with Tausi or fermented black beans. Today we're going to be making another fish dish, pretty common in the Philippines, called Tausi. Usually this dish is served with bangos or milkfish as the fish. In this case, we're going to be using tilapia. Actually, instead of tilapia steaks, we're going to be using tilapia fillets. Now for this dish, you can use all types of fish, you know, like dory, tilapia, catfish, but most popular is the bangos or the milkfish. There are two steps on making this dish. First is we're gonna pan fry our fish. So we're gonna coat it with a little flour and cornstarch and then pan frying it and then set it aside. And then next is we're gonna be making our sauce, and then once our sauce is done, we're gonna be adding in that fish into the sauce. So here's our ingredients. We're gonna use some tilapia fillets, about 5 tomatoes chopped, 1 onion chopped, about 8 cloves of garlic minced, around 2 thumb-sized ginger thinly sliced, but since I like ginger, I kind of put a little more. We're gonna need about 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of cornstarch, and a little water for a batter to coat our fish. And we're gonna need 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and we're gonna season with ground pepper. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna coat our fish before frying. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a batter. We're gonna use about 1 cup of flour. It doesn't have to be perfect, just eyeball it. 1 cup of cornstarch. And just enough water to make it look like a pancake batter. Just like that, and just like any batter, we need to season it a little. So we're gonna add in a pinch of salt and a little black pepper. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our fish. Now for the fish fillet, I would highly suggest breaking them up into halves. So that they don't fall apart when you cook it later. And make sure your hands are clean. That should be good. Now mix everything until everything's well coated. Okay, so that's done. Let's just set it aside and we're gonna work on our black beans. Now for those of you that don't know, Tausi or salted black beans are fermented soybeans. And it's a key ingredient in the Asian cuisine where it adds salty, sweet, and savory flavor to the dish. And be careful, if this is your first time using this is extremely salty. So what I usually do is I grab a spoonful and put it in a running water so that it kind of washes that saltiness away. So first thing we're gonna do is gonna open it and we're gonna place it in a running water. So here's our black beans. We're just gonna scoop a few at a time. We're gonna use about 4 tablespoons worth of this. So now we strained it, we're gonna run some water through it so that it washes the saltiness away. Okay, it's rinsed. Just set it aside. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pan fry our fish. We have our pan here over high heat. We're gonna add in some oil. We're gonna start pan frying our fish. Once our oil is hot, we're gonna add in our fish fillets. Remember not to crowd the fish so that they cook evenly. And since these are thin, they shouldn't take that long. So they should be good. Flip that over. Since this is very thin, this should be good. And be very careful because they're splattering. So we're just going to continue cooking the rest of our fish, and we'll be back. Now we finished frying our fish, we're gonna make our sauce. So we're gonna use some of the oil from our fried fish. So next thing we're gonna do is saute our ginger. Gonna infuse that oil with the flavor of the ginger. Then we're going to add in our onion and garlic. Now our onions are soft, we're going to start adding in our tomatoes. Now we're gonna cook this off until they're very soft, pretty much mushy. So at this point, just season with a little salt. Don't put a lot of salt because you're gonna be putting in the black beans, which is salty, and some pepper. So as you see, the tomatoes are starting to fall apart. So that's what we need. At this point, we're going to add in our black beans, about a cup of soy sauce, and about 1 cup of water. Now we're just going to cover it, set our heat to medium, and simmer until the tomatoes are soft. Let's check on our sauce. It's looking really good. See, now the tomatoes are all soft. They pretty much fell apart. So the flavor of that sauce, the tomato, is in the sauce. Now we're going to be adding in our fish to the sauce. And I will leave it uncovered and let it simmer for about 3 minutes, because this is pretty much done. We just want that sauce to kind of evaporate and reduce. At this point, our dish is done. Just taste it. Just give it a quick taste. Very good. You don't really need to add salt because you're getting the salt from the soy sauce and the black beans. So this is perfect the way it is. So what we're gonna do now is plate our dish. So here's our finished dish. Fish fillet with fermented black beans, or Tausi. Hope you enjoyed today's recipe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.